This is exactly how I became effortlessly sober, by just understanding all the information in this video, and I'm giving it to you here now. So make sure you watch every single second of this video, and at the end, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the other side. Let's get into it. So, why am I making this video in the first place? Well, my friends, that is because 99.99% of people who I talk to about their sobriety do not understand how sobriety actually works. They just don't get it. They think that their problem is alcohol. Even the people who have over a year of sobriety aren't effortlessly sober. I'll ask them, hey, you're at a year sober. That's great, fantastic. I know that's not no cakewalk. How you feeling, right? Well, I'm still struggling with X, Y, and Z. I'm like, still struggling? After a year? What the freaking frack? The camel's back. Whereas I, myself, became effortlessly sober around 4 to 5 months into my sobriety. It didn't take me no year, 2 year, 3 year, 10 year, where I'm sitting here chanting slogans. I am gonna be effortlessly sober. I'm powerless to alcohol. I didn't need to do any of that because of what we're gonna hear in the next slide. So what do I mean when I say effortless sobriety? After I reach 4 to 5 months of sobriety, I haven't had any desire to go back to drinking at all. At all. I literally don't try to stay sober because I never think about it. And when I'm around it, I am completely unbothered by it. I truly don't think about it ever. Like when people ask me, are you ever gonna have a drink again? I'm like, okay, let's switch the drug for a second. If it had been heroin, do you think someone's gonna come up to me and be like, oh, you ever gonna just do a little bit of heroin again? You're just gonna do a little bit of coke again? Like, no, alcohol is a drug. I know society is all freaking mental and thinks that alcohol is separated from drugs, but alcohol is one of the worst drugs. Not only does it affect you mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, it's at the top of homicide, suicide, driving fatality, you name it. Alcohol is just so, why would I ever drink? Oh, because I need a 20-minute high. When I can have a life that I've built that gives me a high every single day of my life, like, no thanks, pass. So for example, I could plan a vacation and I'm not worried about drinking. When I was in early sobriety, I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to Cancun. I know they're gonna offer us a drink at the hotel. What should I do? Now this time around, when we went to Cancun in 2025, they offered us a drink and I was like, you know what? None of us actually do drink, but we will take a complimentary cheesecake that they sent us, and I ate it, every little bit of it. And I even got it with an ice cold milk. That's what they should be putting in people's freaking hotels when they arrive, is some mother friggin' cheesecake. Not your poison in a bottle. Hard pass. I can go to a restaurant and not be worried about the alcohol menu and get triggered, right? I used to worry, like, have them not hand me the alcohol menu, have them not offer it to me, and I'd sit there and bump balloon, be like, you really gotta have my back. When we went on this cruise in 2022, I had to sit there and have a conversation with my husband and was like, all right, I'm gonna need you to not let me leave your sight. I'm also gonna need you to monitor me. If I've gone to the bathroom more than 2 times, I'm drinking. So I really, really, really need your support. It was nearly impossible going out to eat without ruminating about, like, okay, you're not drinking. Now I'm like, all right, let's go get some freaking food. And the first thing that I'm looking at is not the alcohol menu, it's the dessert menu. Sure, I love me some sugar, but it isn't poison that's mind altering. I even served alcohol at my sister's wedding. Just because I got sober doesn't mean that I need to shove my agenda down my family's throat. And I regret not recording it. But you know why I didn't record it? Because I didn't even think anything of it. I didn't even think it was a big deal until I had left. And my boyfriend at the time, my now husband, hey, I'll put a ring on it, said to me, is like, how'd you feel like being around it? And I was like, oh, I didn't even like freaking realize like that was a thing. Like I was just at the point where I'm like, I just don't want to drink. On that day in the morning of her wedding, we went on a run through the mountains. We were doing step-ups on the benches. We were doing pull-ups on the rails. We were breathing in that nice naturey air when it was crisp because it was snowing. It was a beautiful day in Tennessee. And as I served everybody their alcohol, it never even appeared to me that I was like, I'm not drinking. I was totally happy and content with my little Shirley Temple with extra cherries. Ain't no shame in my sober game. Next, I even had my own wedding this September 2025. And of course, my family, they drink. I wasn't gonna be like, guys, sorry, I don't drink, it's my wedding. Don't bring that alcohol here. Have at it, right? And here I am, yet again, diving into the cake, not even worried about the alcohol sitting to the left of me. Because again, it's effortless sobriety. I don't think about it. I wasn't sitting there like, oh, it's my wedding day. I wish I could have a little glass of bubbly. Matter of fact, I did have a glass of bubbly. My sister got me no secco, which is Prosecco, but no secco. And she asked multiple times to the liquor store man guy, like, this is absolutely 0% because my sister's pregnant. And we got it, and guess what? That freaking no secco gave me the worst heartburn. So 20 minutes after I said I do, I was taking my wedding dress off. I was like, get this dress off me. I can't breathe. That or it was the burnt steak that my father burnt. And now this next video is a video of me in Cancun. Like I said, this year we went to Cancun and I'm literally sitting at the bar where they serve alcohol. So here I am, sitting at the bar, lots of alcohol. But guess what I'm ordering? Shirley Temple. Why? Because Shirley Temples are delicious and it's my little reward. However, this reward does not entirely poison me. Yes, there's sugar in it, but it's not mind altering. And I love being present with this guy.
I have a question for you.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
So, like, does that trigger you at all?
Trigger. No. They're just bottles.
Between 0 to 10?
0. 0 being the least, 10 being the most?
Yes.
0.
Why? Why do you think?
Because I've reframed my view towards alcohol. Like, I literally see it for exactly what it is. Poison, dog shit. Not putting that in my body. This, however. Muchas gracias.
You no pay nothing? Again, you don't know my name is this?
So you get the point, okay? You could be around a bar, you could be on vacation, you could be at an all-inclusive where they offer you drink after drink and simply like, no gracias, no thank you. And that's exactly what I did. Here I am drinking the best mineral agua. I freaking loved it. I bought 2 bottles of it. It was delicious. Like, my new thing is sparkling water. I know, super boring, right? Grow up, Cheyenne. You're so lame. So this is what I define as effortless sobriety. I want to truly teach you what that means to become effortlessly sober. Not just how to get sober, not just how to stay sober, but how to become effortlessly sober. So once you overcome your addiction, you never have to overcome it again. Because I see girls in the community come back after 2 years of sobriety and they'll tell me like, oh, I was 2 years sober, but I need to join your community because I just didn't do it right. Or I'll see someone come from 3 years and I just didn't do it right. I don't want you ever have to do those first 2 weeks again. That's one of the biggest things that keeps me sober. I don't ever want to have to do the first 2 weeks again. Those first 2 weeks suck. And if you're watching this video and you're in the first 2 weeks, may the odds be ever in your favor. So now we're going to talk about why you haven't reached effortless sobriety yet. You still view alcohol as the cause of your life problems, and you will never become effortlessly sober with this perspective. Right now you're seeing this. Number 1 is the cause. You see alcohol as the problem. And then number 2 is the effect of the alcohol, which is creating all of your life problems. That is currently how you're viewing this. And now, you have this perspective when you say things like, I just need to stop drinking because alcohol is ruining my life. Alcohol is ruining my relationships with my boyfriend, with my husband, with my kids, with my mom, with my grandma, with my next door neighbor. Again, because you're seeing alcohol is causing all of those problems. And then this is the effect. Cause and effect. What's causing all of your problems? Oh, it's gotta be the alcohol. It's so clear. It's clear as I've ever seen it. And sure, alcohol can make your life worse. Don't get me wrong. I know this. But It is not the cause of all of your problems. So you may be over here like, how do I fix this? Well, we're going to talk about that. You must view alcohol as the effect and your life problems as the cause, like this. See how they switch? Bling, bling, blink, blink. Right now you're seeing the alcohol as a problem, but really, you already have the life problems, which is causing you to want to drink the alcohol to escape. So all of your life problems are what are causing you to want to drink. It's not the other way around. Alcohol isn't the problem. Alcohol is only the effect of a much larger problem. And until you solve for those problems, alcohol is always going to feel like the issue. First, I'm going to prove this to you with an analogy. Then I'm going to show you real life examples of this. Let's think of a common cold, right? We've all had a cold, right? Everybody on freaking planet Earth has had a cold at some point. So, what are the effects or the symptoms of a cold? Signs of a cold could be coughing, runny nose, sore throat, upset stomach, diarrhea. No, I'm just kidding. All right, coughing, runny nose, or sore throat. If we tried to deal with the cold the same way we try to deal with your alcohol problem, it would look like this. If I just stop coughing altogether, I should be able to get rid of this dang cold, right? If I just don't think of my runny nose, I should be able to get rid of this cold, right? Wrong. If I don't think of how bad my throat hurts, that should get rid of my cold, right? No. Obviously, none of these solutions would work to get rid of a cold. And why is this the case? Because a cough, a runny nose, sore throat aren't the cause of the cold. So, what is the cause of this freaking cold? A viral infection, okay? No matter how much you try to deal with these symptoms, you will never get rid of the cold because they aren't the cause of your cold. To get rid of the virus, you simply rest, drink fluid, hydrate or dehydrate, rely on your immune system to give it time. It's going to take time. But the point is, you need to focus on the cause to get rid of the effects of the common cold. If you're just focusing on the common cold effects, good luck getting rid of the virus there, Pete. Same thing with drinking alcohol. Here's all of your life problems that is causing you to want to drink. The effect of alcohol is due to your life problems. Same thing with the coughing, runny nose, sore throat. These are the effects of the cause, which is the viral infection, which again, you're going to have to rest, you're going to have to hydrate, you're going to have to give it time. Same thing with all of your life problems. Becoming effortlessly sober isn't just, I'm just going to stop drinking. I'm just gonna magically become effortlessly sober. It's gonna take time, it's gonna take work, it's gonna take sacrifice. Alcohol is the symptom or the effect. It is not the cause. In other words, it is not what you should be really worried or focused on when trying to get sober. It's actually kind of silly just focusing on the alcohol. This right here is where people stay their entire lives just focusing on the symptom. Focus on the alcohol. Alcohol is my problem. Alcohol is ruining my relationships. Alcohol is ruining my body, my health, my freaking vitality. So this is how you're currently focusing on getting sober. If I just get enough time without drinking any alcohol, I'll be effortlessly sober, right? If I just do one of these sober October, dry January, no drinking September or whatever challenges, I'll become effortlessly sober, right? If I just maybe, go to rehab, but then come back and change absolutely nothing, I'll be effortlessly sober, right? No. None of these solutions would work to get rid of your addiction. And why is this the case? Because as you've now learned, your addiction to alcohol is only a symptom or an effect of the cause. What is causing? Pause the video. Say it out loud. What is causing you to want to drink? Your life problems. You didn't get addicted to alcohol because everything was going right in your life. You got addicted to alcohol because you were in pain, because you were uncomfortable, because things were uncertain, because bad shit happens to people every single day. And this just became the easiest coping mechanism. Don't talk about your feelings. Don't have a better, healthier lifestyle. Don't eat better quality food. Don't get outside and get sun on your skin. Stay in your box, stay in the dark, keep drinking. It'll make you feel better. Wrong. This right here is where people stay their entire lives just focusing on the symptom and never get to the root cause of their addiction. And the root cause is exactly what I just said. The life behind the alcohol, not the alcohol. The alcohol is not the villain here. This isn't the big problem. Your life is the problem. And until you fix those problems, alcohol will forever stay alive in your life. Now, there's some people who are a year, 2 years, 3 years, shoot, even 10 years sober, who still struggle because they haven't dealt with some of their life problems. They've dealt with some of them, but not all of them. It's like you've tackled a couple of your problems. Maybe you left your ex-husband, or maybe you stopped talking to your family, or maybe you switched jobs, but you still haven't worked on yourself enough. You still haven't understood that maybe you're not perfect in this situation. Maybe you've still got some things you got to work through. There's so many different cases. But until you resolve all of your life problems, or at least the big ones, again, it's going to feel challenging to not drink. Now, the people that can't figure out how to stay sober is because they are focusing on the effect of the life problems, but aren't dealing with the actual life problems. Finally, the people that can't imagine letting alcohol go is because alcohol is what they are currently using to avoid, yet you guessed it, the life problems, even though it's destroying their freaking lives. Now, at this point, you should be asking, Cheyenne, what are these freaking life problems that you speak of? Then I can actually do the work on my sobriety. Well, don't worry. I told you this is going to be a long video. To best explain, we are going to use a chart like this. And now we're looking at this chart, but it is the same as this. Here are all of your life problems, and this is the effect of your life problems. This is what's causing your life problems. This is the effect of your life problems. So, cause, effect. Cause, effect. Life problems, alcohol. Life problems, alcohol. Okay? So, if alcohol is a symptom or an effect, what is at the cause? Depression is one of the biggest ones, right? Anxiety, stress, boredom. And I know these are only a couple, but there are so many different causes, right? We have depression, anxiety, stress, boredom. That's just scratching the surface. Obviously, you have loneliness, you've got crappy friends, you've got crappy family, you've got voluntarily isolating, you've got lack of self-love, lack of self-respect, deeper understanding of who you are, aka no sense of self, like no identity outside of being maybe a mom or a wife, like who are you as an individual? There's so many factors that cause people to want to drink alcohol, but we're going to first just focus on these 4. Now that we got through the first layer of causes, we have to ask again, what is causing the depression, the anxiety, the stress, the boredom? So we're going to go a layer deeper. What causes depression? Lack of gratitude, not fully expressing how you feel. Anxiety, too much thinking, not enough action, right? Every time you don't take action, the anxiety builds and builds. Now, what causes you to stress? Not being efficient, not being effective, having a lack of proper prioritization. Now, what causes boredom? Lack of purpose, right? I don't know what to do with my time when we've been given so much time to do whatever it is we want, but you just think that you need to fill your time with drinking. That'll be fun. Wrong. Alcohol isn't the problem. These are all the real life problems, and you need to work on them one by one. Lack of gratitude. Gratitude changes your mother friggin' attitude. Be a little bit more thankful. Oh, well, I don't have a husband. I don't have a this. I don't have a cat. You have air in your lungs, okay? That's more than a lot of people. Alexa, how many people die on average each day?
There are approximately 156,021 deaths per day across the globe. Good news. Alexa Plus is free to
Alexa, off. Okay, so you're one of the lucky ones. And by luck, I mean you were given another day to watch this YouTube video. You're given another day to breathe, all right? Too much thinking, not enough action, lack of purpose, not efficient, effective, lack of proper prioritization, knowing what you actually value in a friend. All of these things are going to help you become effortlessly sober. But you may have a couple slips even while you're working on this list, but it doesn't mean you're not making progress. Once you've completely got rid of the root cause, then there's not going to be a need for alcohol. You're literally going to get to the point where you're like, I've handled my life problems. Sure, more life problems are going to come, but as you've worked on the real big ones, the hard ones, the challenging ones, the thing that causes you to want to drink, that is going to be what helps you in other problems. You're going to be a solution. You are going to be a problem solver. You're going to have problems. You're like, I've already dealt with blink, 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 and blink. Now I can handle this next thing that's going to arise, because problems are always going to come and go, ebbs and flow. Life is always going to have challenges. But the more willing you are to face those challenges, the better you're going to be at facing challenges that are to come later. This is why I don't shame anybody for slipping up, but instead focus on helping them learn the lesson that the slip up has to offer. Maybe they're working on these first two things, but it's this last one down here that they're around a friend group and all their friends are drinking, and that causes them to want to drink. Like, I'm influenced, I want to drink. I don't shame them. I don't make them feel guilty. I'm like, okay, what's the lesson we can learn from this? Sure, you're working on these top two, but again, there's so many other things that we need to work on. It's not just a one-time fix-all, right? There's many different little elements that go into becoming effortlessly sober. So a perfect example of cause and effect would be one of the girls who stayed with us for 30 days. 30 days, we confiscated her phone. She didn't have her phone. She was, told to work on your non-negotiables, do your gratitude, read your books, come to 2 calls a day, and she focused on that. And when she went to leave to a new state, I told her the same thing. You're going to have to do the same thing, but you're going to do it over there, right? You don't just get to stop doing it. So she took her whiteboard and she did it, and all these things. A week had passed. She's still coming to the call. She's still doing her gratitude, still doing the journals, still doing the calls. But she told me, I'm getting bored. I think I want to go to this concert. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? What compelled you to want to go to a beer and wine festival where they happen to be playing music? Because let's be real, right? The whole reason she wanted to go maybe was to hear the music, but to be in that environment again. I'm like, putting yourself in that environment is going to potentially result in a slip up. So we then went back to the drawing board. I'm like, clearly you're having a hard time sitting with yourself, being bored. These are things that you must work on, because that is what's going to cause you to want to drink later. I can't sit with myself. I can't be bored. Yes, you can, but you must learn it. You must practice it. So she didn't end up going. She was actually very grateful that she didn't, because she learned yet again another big lesson. And this is what has gotten her to the point of being effortlessly sober. It's just working on those tiny little nuances in our journey. That is what caused her to want to drink, was sitting with herself, being bored. And the effect would have been her drinking. And she's like, I don't want to drink. So what did she have to do? She had to work on the cause. She had to work on being bored. She had to work on sitting with herself and learning to enjoy her own company. Now she's going on hikes every day and walking and running and doing her non-negotiable, and she's thriving. She actually wanted to work at a friggin' bookstore. She's like, I just love sobriety. I love it. I love being sober. I love not feeling tempted. I love being able to sit with my thoughts and my feeling. Now she enjoys her own company all day, every day. And now another perfect prime example, not too long ago, we had a woman in the community going off to Paris. Oui, oui. And she was going to Paris and her flight got canceled. And now this just in her mind created chaos. And she immediately wanted to drink. Luckily, in Sobriety 7, we have an urge checkoff list where you set 30 minutes, you sit with your thoughts and feelings, you articulate what you're feeling. And what we landed on is that, one, she had intentions of things going exactly how she planned it. She needed in that moment to learn to let go. of what she had thought was going to happen, and then also having expectations. Having expectations and learning to let go were the two things causing her to want to drink. She's like, I can't sit with myself. I expected to be on this plane. It's already a 10-hour flight. She, in that moment, recognized that she had expectations. She, in that moment, recognized that she was trying to control things that were out of her control. When we look here on our circle of control, her getting onto that plane, not in her circle of control, but how she chooses to have her attitude, her beliefs, her response to the situation, she absolutely had control of. So that is exactly what I reminded her of. And now she didn't even have to think about not drinking, the effect. She needed to focus all of her time, her effort, and her energy on what was causing her to even want to drink. So she just focused on her circle of control. She just focused on learning to let go of expectations. And from doing that, that is another example of how you reach effortless sobriety. Focus on the cause. Don't focus on the effect. Focus on the cause. And one more example, and this one is pretty relatable for, I'm sure, many of us, because it has to do with pride. So one of the girls in the community, she just went on a trip and they rented a car. And now this car happened to be a Tesla, and in her mind, she's like, should be totally easy. Totally got it. Shouldn't be confusing. Gets into this car. It takes them about 30 minutes. And although her fiance is trying to help her and be nice and kind, she's just like, my seat is hot. Why is the seat on? Why is it hot? She ends up just yelling and screaming at him, and she didn't want to, but she's like, I'm so frustrated. And I've totally been in that moment. It's just so hot. And rather than going off and drinking, because there was that brief moment where she wanted to, it's like, oh, I just want to escape. She just needed to learn to let her emotions settle, let her pride step aside, and apologize for even communicating in that way when all he was trying to do was help. Now, we've all been in moments like that where the cause is our feelings are at their highest, at their peak. We feel overwhelmed, we feel stressed, and we feel like the only thing to be able to help us get out of this is to go and drink, right? So what she did was really awesome. She took the car ride to be able to let her emotions settle, to put her pride aside, put her ego aside, and be like, I am sorry for how I reacted. I was frustrated. She used her words. She worked on one of the biggest things that we need to work on, which is learning how to communicate, learning how to allow our feelings to settle, and most importantly, learned how to push pride and ego out of the picture and admit that she was wrong and move forward. And they had an amazing rest of their trip. So right there could have been the very thing that caused her to want to go off and drink. Like, this is going to solve it. But she knew in that moment, she knew in her heart that she's like, if I want to reach effortless sobriety, I have to do something that I haven't done before. And that right there, focusing on the cause, is going to be the very thing that helps you reach effortless sobriety. Not focusing on like, why do I want to drink right now? Why do I want to drink? Why do I want to escape? Focusing on like, why did I react that way? What is it that's bothering me? She got curious. She didn't get critical of herself. She's like, I could have done this better, but I didn't. Now let me apologize. So those are some of the prime examples of cause and effect when it comes to drinking alcohol. Focus on the life problem. Don't focus on the alcohol. So, welcome back, bitches. All right, so now that you understand that alcohol is only a symptom of the real problemo, you must become very curious to what those real problems are in your life that are causing you to want to drink. Once you gain clarity on what those things are, by being curious and not critical for having those thoughts in the first place, you will find your answer. If you've been struggling with alcohol for some time and not got sober yet, you are unaware of what that life problem is and are causing your alcohol addiction in the first place. So again, we must gain clarity. We must get curious of all of your life problems. You're not going to solve them all in one sitting, but you are going to identify what all of them are. I'm going to be real with you. If you don't have somebody who can spot the life problems behind your drinking, it is going to be a lot harder to figure out why it is you do drink. And then it's going to be even harder to fix those problems. That is why I recommend working with Sobriety 7. We quickly find the real problems in your life and then give you the best solutions to fix those problems, which is your next big challenge to conquer. So for now, this whole next section is to help you become more aware of what your life problems are all on your own. But to do this, we must understand the golden rule. There is a golden rule of sobriety. Otherwise, all of these life problems are going to remain invisible. So what is the golden rule, you may ask? Slip-ups aren't failures and urges aren't bad. Say it again. Slip-ups aren't failures and urges aren't bad. They are clues, all right? They are clues needed to become effortlessly sober. Like if you've ever played the game Clue, right? And it was Colonel Mustard in the laboratory with the candlestick, right? Imagine that game were to have no clues. It's like good luck figuring out who the murderer is, right? So you need to have these urges. You need to have these cravings because these are the telltale signs that tell you that there's something going on underneath the hood. In the hood. So, like I said before, slip-ups, urges in your sobriety are the clearest way to figure out what your life problems are. It is a sign that a life problem is close by and you need to pay attention. See it? It's lurking about. It's tiptoeing around you, right? And as you get more curious, it won't tiptoe. It'll come knocking. It'll be louder and louder, and you'll get better and better and better at being able to identify what that problem is very quickly. So I want to make this clear, very, very clear. I'm not saying that slip-ups are okay. I'm not advocating for setbacks. The goal is still 100% sobriety. But slip-ups aren't the end of the world. They're not. They're not the end of the world. So you don't need to beat yourself up so badly that you give up on your sobriety altogether. Well, I tried to get sober and then I quit. No, you tried. You didn't get it on the first, second, third, or fourth, but that doesn't mean you just give up. You don't just throw in the towel. Slip-ups are just signs that there are still life problems that need your attention. This isn't a free pass to drink whenever you want, whenever you please. Always do your best to prevent the slip-ups from occurring. So this is where you get curious about your urges, right? You don't run away from them, you get curious about them. Most people with an alcohol problem either beat themselves up for having the urges or ignore them altogether until they give in, making that even worse and feeling worse about themselves. Like, let's just not even think about it, right? Kind of like earlier how it's like, well, if I just don't think about coughing, maybe the sickness will go away. Maybe if I just don't think about these urges, maybe the addiction will just go away. Wrong! So like I said, that is like starting to cough and having a runny nose, but beating yourself up about it, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I still have this runny nose. Oh my gosh, I'm still coughing. Why am I not sick yet? Instead of taking it easy, resting and giving your immune system time to do its thing. That's what we should be doing with slip-ups and urges. We should get curious and ask, why is this happening? What's causing the desire for escapism right now? So if you consistently get curious instead of being critical of thyself, over time you will discover every little problem that needs to be worked on. I used to really struggle identifying what my problems were because when I was egotistical, I was like, I am not flawed, I am perfect, sent from above, the angels see me down. But now I'm able to step aside from that and be like, no, this needs improvement. I could definitely work and improve on this. Having a Shoshin mentality, which just means to have a beginner's mind. I am a new, fresh sponge ready to absorb all the new possibilities of where I could improve in my life. You will get there. So when you discover and eliminate your life problems more and more and more, eventually you'll get to the point where you have none of these problems left. None of these problems left. None of these problems left. Right? And then you're like, oh my gosh, what life problems? If I have no life problems, I have no desire to be drinking the hooch. Right? By that time, you will have learned how to deal with these life problems efficiently and become, you guessed it, effortlessly sober. Ring-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding. Ring that sober bell. So remember the golden rule. Slip-ups aren't failures and urges aren't bad. Slip-ups aren't failures and urges aren't bad. Hey, They are clues needed to become effortlessly sober. Again, if you don't learn from your mistakes, you will be bound to repeat them again and again and again and again, and it just is a cycle you do not want to stay on. But to learn the lesson, you must stop beating yourself up and being shameful about it. Take away the shame and take away the guilt behind the drinking, and then the lesson will appear. So, what we've learned so far is that alcohol isn't the cause of your addiction. Your life problems are. These are what are causing you to want to drink. Slip-ups and urges are signs that life problems are around, and you must get curious, not critical. Curiosity over being highly critical of self. Now, you need life tools for life problems. So let's say you have created a list of 5 problems that you are aware of that are currently causing you to slip up. What you're going to want to do is create a toolbox, all right? You're going to realize very quickly that if you want to fix your life problems, it's going to require some kind of tool that you currently may not have. Because what has been our tool all along? I'm sad, drink. I'm mad, drink. I'm happy, drink. The sky's blue, drink, right? That has been the only tool that we've seemed to have inside of our toolbox. So here is some tools that you'll need to help you become effortlessly sober. Humility, circle of control, prioritizing yourself, keeping a peaceful environment, having a routine. This is why you have an alcohol problem and haven't been able to get sober, because you lack humility. Your ego is so inflated that you're like, no, I couldn't possibly learn anything new. That person's older or younger. What does she know? Her life's not easy. Have a little humility, okay? Circle of control. You're constantly worrying about things that are outside of your circle of control. When you look at your circle of control, realistically, it's only centered towards you, right? Like, you can't control the weather, you can't control world events, what people say, what people do, what people think, but we tend to focus so heavily on things that are outside of our control, which gives us stress and anxiety, rather than being like, I don't have control over that, but I do have control over whether or not I drink, whether or not I work through an urge, whether or not I call a friend, whether or not I eat, take a nap, whatever those things are for you, right? You have control over that. When you take action on the things that you have control over, you will see that the stress and anxiety will eliminate. Prioritizing yourself. We want to put people, places, things above ourselves, but this is what's keeping you in that cycle of drinking. You've got to find time to put you first. It's a must. You must do that. Keeping a peaceful environment. If you are in an environment that is causing you stress and worry and friction, you are going to struggle a lot more. So you must chop people out of your life, okay? And then routine. If you don't have a routine and addiction go hand in hand. If you struggle with addiction, you need a routine. It's not an option. I like to call these little bad boys non-negotiables. You have a life problem that requires humility, but you are prideful and shutting down. You have a life problem that requires controlling only what you can control and letting go of the rest. But you worry about everything that you can't control. You have a life problem that requires prioritizing yourself, but you put everyone and everything before you, and you just can't help it. You just can't help to put yourself on the back burner. You have a life problem that requires you to protect your peace, but you want to be involved in everyone's business instead of just focusing on you. You have a life problem that requires you to have a routine, but you act on how you feel instead of what you know you must follow. Your routine, your non-negotiables. So again, we have all of these life problems that are going to require even more life tools. But in these next couple of slides, I'm going to give you real life examples of real life problems that use these life tools. Here are some of the examples from women that I've worked with inside of my community. One of the stories is a girl drank because she wanted to have energy to talk to her friends after a long day of work. But we gave her a new life tool, a principle to follow, prioritizing yourself. This is what we did. I reminded her, you don't need to drink for more energy to talk to your friends. Your health is a priority over your friends. If they don't get that, then they're not truly your friends. This is when you start to slowly separate from those people. You gotta learn to prioritize yourself. Next story. Drinking because she was stressing about her mom falling down and getting hurt at an old age. So the life tool that I gave her was follow your circle of control. Can you control mom falling down? Nope, right? So what she focused on is that she needed to let go of not being able to control what she can't control. And this applies to many people for many different reasons. Focusing on what you can control and not worrying about the things that you can't control. Worrying is like worshiping the problem. So again, focus on your circle of control. Now, another client whose life problem was avoiding communicating her needs to her partner. So the life tool that I gave her was having the ability to communicate peacefully, right? Maybe you just don't know how to speak naturally, just verbally. So what I had her do was write down all the points that she'd like to have a conversation about and just sit down and communicate one bullet point after another. Eventually, you're going to be able to take away the writing aspect of it and just verbally communicate how it is you feel. We haven't always been conditioned to talk about our feelings or things that are bothering us. So at first, it probably feels a little bit uncomfortable, but over time, you get way better at communicating. I remember in my early sobriety, I had no communication skills. I would shut down quickly. I would be quick to anger. I had such a big ego. I never wanted to be wrong. So it took me time, and what me and my husband now, boyfriend at the time, did is we would get these little note cards, and on one side we'd write a pro, on the other side we'd write a negative. Like, this is something that I love that you do, right? Let's start it off on a high. Let's start off on a pro. And then on the other side, it would be, hey, this can totally improve. At the time, I really remember what his first one was. He's like, the hitting has to stop. It's not like I was hitting him in the face, but I was like, freaking wrestling and tussling and hitting him in the side and the stomach and the arm. And he was like, I've never been hit like this. And that's all me and my ex-boyfriend did do was like, beat the just hit each other and like mess around. But he's like, that's toxic. I don't like it. That can improve. And then I would give him a note card. This is what I love. This is what you can improve. That really started to help me be able to communicate things that it is that I wanted him to improve on, and also for him to communicate to me what it is that he wanted me to improve on. And then also like the things we loved about each other, whatever, right? So again, life tool is having the ability to communicate, keyword here, peacefully, okay? That really is the underlined word. Another woman from the community's life problem was not being able to forgive herself for getting her kid taken away a couple years ago, right? So obviously the life tool here was learning to have the ability to forgive. We talk about forgiveness of other people all the time, right? But we rarely talk about forgiving ourselves and its true importance. Not forgiving yourself is like being in a cage with the door wide open. You can leave at any time, right? But you choose to stay inside of that cage, right? There comes a day where you have to be like, I forgive myself for my past. So what we worked on for her is acknowledging what happened, okay? Talk about what happened. Express yourself. You don't have to tell the whole world, but choose a select group of people or one person that you trust, and then try your absolute best to take the lesson or a benefit that came from that situation and move forward positively. Move forward smarter, more wise. All of these lessons in life are there to teach us. Life is our greatest teacher, but we have to be willing to learn from it. And then that's when you leave the past behind you. Not that you're going to forget the past, right? But you've made peace with it so you can move forward. You no longer carry it around like a badge of honor, like I have this little trauma badge. Like, move forward. And then the last life problem that I'll have today for this example would be that no matter what she does, she doesn't feel good enough. Saying, I'm just always going to have to keep raising the bar because I'm never going to feel good enough. And I know a lot of people struggle with this deep down, not feeling like they're good enough. So they drink about it. Like, I'm going to drink and then I'll feel like I'm good enough. But you're not your achievements. You're not your accomplishments. You're not your accolades. What you've got to work on, what we had her work on, was that you were born enough, you're going to die enough. So something tells me that on this long timeline, in the middle, you're still good enough. But we get into this headspace of, well, I need to have a certain amount of money. But what if you lose it all? Now you're not good enough. I need to have this certain job. Well, what if you get fired? Now you're not good enough. I need to be extremely positive. What if one day you're negative? Now you're not good enough. I need to be super ultra skinny. What if you get a thyroid issue and you gain a ton of weight? Okay, well now you gain weight, you're not good enough, right? I need to have long hair. What if you happen to have to shave your head, right? I'm not good enough if I don't have my long curly hair or whatever. We are not our appearances. We are not our friend groups. We are not our status quo. We are not the car we have, the house we live in. You are simply just yourself, and you are enough. So what we worked on was getting rid of all the false beliefs that made her feel like she wasn't good enough. And so that way she could really realize that she was good enough, right? She's like, I had this feeling from as soon as I was born. I'm like, well, you weren't a baby born with a briefcase, right? You weren't a baby that just needed to come out of the womb and, friggin' be ultra successful. You were just a little kid. Why is it okay that she was enough, but you're not enough? And I referenced this little baby that I have in my room. And I was like, what if this baby, let me get it. It's like, imagine this little baby. Little baby was born, right? And then all of a sudden I'm like, this baby doesn't bring in $10,000 a month. Stupid baby, get out of here. No, it's just a baby. Well, what if this baby is like, maybe not the cutest baby, ugly baby, get out of here, right? I'm not pretty enough. No, you're not gonna say that to this little baby. So why, when it comes to us, do we have such high requirements? I have to be ultra beautiful and ultra successful and have a husband and a house and never get into arguments and never be sad and never be mad and la 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 la. And if I don't have all that, well then, I'm not good enough, right? It's not a vape, it's a little baby bottle, okay? And it's absolutely insane to say, I'm not good enough unless I have all those things. I would argue many people on this planet don't have all of those things. Some people fake it till they make it. Some people have it, good for them, right? But you're never gonna have it all, and it's not gonna last. If beauty is your thing that makes you enough, it will fade, right? We've seen this, right? If it's money, it's like you can easily lose it all at any point. If it's your health, if it's your house, if it's your car, at any point you can lose those things. Being enough has nothing to do with your achievements, your accomplishments, your accolades. You just already are enough. You too, little baby. I'm sorry I slapped you. I'm pregnant. I'd never hit you. So anyway, with all that being said, in this video, what we really truly covered is that urges are not bad. Cravings are not bad. These are the telltale signs that something deeper underneath the surface is going on and that you need to get curious, not critical. And if you do that long enough, I guarantee you, every life problem that does exist will soon be paired with a life tool that has nothing to do with alcohol, which will give you the results that it is you're looking for to be able to design the life that you truly want to live. Now look, I know that this was a lot of information and you're probably wanting to rip your freaking hair out. Unless you're bald, then you're like, I wish I had hair to rip out. But I can help you identify your life problems, help you find the life tools to help you with those life problems, and then the action steps so that way you can get to the point where you reach effortless sobriety. So all you got to do, just go to my Instagram right here, click on my messaging, and DM me the word YouTube. And you and I will hop on a call and talk about you joining the community and getting the coaching that it is that you need. But until the next call, I'll see you on the flip side. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this, and I'll see you next time.